welcome to another exciting conversation. We are a few weeks removed from a very exciting Comic-Con.
Exactly.
I'm your host, James, alongside always Mr. Smiley Pants.
I'm Andy.
He's Andy. Follow us on this journey as we become legend of the nerds. Today's topic is a very gifted one, Andy. What do you know about the X-Men?
I know as much as I would think I do know. I could tell you I know everything, but we all know you're the X-Men expert over there.
We don't know anything. That's the point of the show. We learn, we educate, we become the legends. That's the point of the show. So, what do you know?
I know of the X-Men. Well, there we go, obviously.
Okay.
I know the basics. I grew up watching the 90s cartoons, as
Right.
every nerd fan out there would like to say, which were the best, too.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some new ones, like Wolverine and the X-Men kind of
Right.
thing on Nickelodeon, which was kind of First Class, the movie. Not First Class. Days of Futures Past was almost based around, because they involved the Future Sentinels.
Maybe you get me sucked in this show.
Yes.
It was good. It was very entertaining.
okay. So, I mean, I know that, and if you ever watched X-Men Evolution, it's of the young X-Men.
I remember that.
They faced Apocalypse at the end of it.
Yes, they did.
So, which Apocalypse is coming up. So I know my basics. I think
basics.
I could bull my way through through a couple questions.
Well, let's jump into some history of the X-Men for you, all right? Do you know who created it?
Obviously, it's Charles Xavier.
No. Who created the comic, the character himself?
So you got to be more specific here. Stan Lee.
Anybody else?
Oh God. If I hear the name, I'm gonna say,
All right.
I'm gonna say no.
Well, I'll tell you what. This comic was created by Stan Lee, and it was helped written by Jack Kirby. Do
There we go. I knew it was Kirby.
you remember who Jack Kirby was?
It wasn't Stan that started the whole comic thing. Kirby, I think, was before him, and he recruited Stan, I want to say.
No, Stan Lee did create him. Jack Kirby is an artist. He did all the artwork for the X-Men stuff
Okay.
back in the 60s. Right? He also worked on, stuff like Fantastic Four.
Yep.
He did The Incredible Hulk. He did some stuff for Thor. And he also worked with DC Comics when he drew Darkseid.
Okay.
He's the artist for Darkseid, which is very interesting, right? These guys got together and they came up with this concept. And they got the concept from a book called Children of the Atom from 1953. That's the whole
This is
concept.
sounding familiar, like it's just a bunch of the mutants coming together before they were known as the X-Men, I want to say.
Well, Children of the Atom was Children of the Corn.
Okay.
Wrong show, right? Children of the Atom was pretty much based from, the nuclear strike. That's where the stories came from. Where kids came powerful with some sort of like mutated generic disease in them that gave them powers. So that's where Stan Lee got the idea from that to create the X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all it takes is one little idea.
One little
So,
idea, and they come up with a huge topic,
Yeah.
right? Do you know who the original X-Men are?
Oh, you're throwing out these. It's like you want to say the obvious, but
You want to say the obvious, so why don't you just say what's in your
well,
mind?
might as well say you got Xavier, Professor X.
Okay.
You have Cyclops.
Yep.
Scott Summers. Jean Grey.
Yep.
Aurora, which is Storm.
Okay.
And I know I'm missing one. I'm not going to say Wolverine because I don't think in the comics he was one of the originals. So I'll just leave it at that right now because,
So there are 5 originals.
okay.
All right. You have Cyclops, Scott
Yep.
Summers. Got that one right. You have Marvel Girl,
Okay,
also
yes.
known as Jean Grey.
Yes.
All right. Then you have the Archangel,
Yep.
which is Warren Worthington. Mm-hmm. Beast, which we all know is
One of my favorites, too.
Hank McCoy, and also Iceman, Bobby Drake.
Yes.
The original cast. Remember what the uniform looked like?
For Bobby?
For all of them. They all had
For
the
all of
same
'em.
uniform. Even Beast they put a uniform on.
No.
It was all yellow and red. Or yellow and black.
Which is actually in First Class it's yellow and black.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
That's where they get the idea.
yeah,
That's where they
so,
get the
so
source.
they kept it right.
And of course, Charles Xavier was the leader. Do you remember the original villains?
We got Magneto. We've got, was Juggernaut one of them? Or did he come in later?
You tell me.
I don't know.
Okay.
See,
So
it's hard
based
because
on, this is from the movies. So you got some of it from the
okay, if
movies.
you tell me the movies,
Brother, it's called instead of the Brotherhood, it's Brotherhood of the Mutants.
yeah, you
It's
had
the original.
Toad.
So Yep, Toad is in there. Yep.
Toad. You have Mystique. She. Blob wasn't around yet.
See, when I did the research for the villains, I thought it was very interesting.
See, it's
Because
interesting.
half of them, I was like, "What? I didn't even know about this."
See, it's interesting because just a couple days ago, prior to this, when we're coming up with our top 5, for instance, I had a list of every X-Men character ever, and they put them in order of when they debuted. So it's on the tip of my tongue,
Right.
kind of thing, but why don't you give them to me, and
So-
I'll be like, yep.
The Brotherhood of Mutants. I didn't even know about half these. I'm like, wow, this is surprising. So we have Mastermind,
Okay.
we have Toad,
Yep.
Quicksilver,
Yep.
and Scarlet Witch. They were the basics of the Brotherhood of Mutants back in 1960.
Mhm.
All right, and also in the 60s also brought in other villains as well, like the Vanisher and the Blob, like you said.
Yes.
Now this one was very interesting. I had no idea about this. They also brought in another one. It was Professor X's superhumanly strong stepbrother,
Which is Juggernaut.
Juggernaut.
Yes.
I had no idea because you always base this stuff on the movies and the newer stuff now. But when you want the history, you gotta dig deep down into the history of it. And I totally forgot that Juggernaut was related
You got him right up here,
to
right,
Xavier.
right up front.
But
right
I mean,
up
if
there.
you look at the second movie, I think the second one, when Juggernaut, no, the third
It's
one,
the third one.
that Juggernaut introduced, I mean, total no relations at all in that movie.
Exactly.
Because Juggernaut was Russian in the movie, right?
Mhm.
I felt that was really weird.
Which that's what I liked in the '90s cartoons. They describe a lot of Juggernaut and Xavier's past as stepbrothers.
right.
So
Yeah. So I mean, the movies were good, but they didn't have the facts that were there.
no,
you know?
the early animes definitely did justice for the.
I felt the
comics.
'90s had more on facts with most of the superhero stuff
Mhm.
than in the movies did. You
Mhm.
know.
Exactly. Even when they introduced the future X-Men, like Bishop and Cable, for instance, they do a good job with the
Yes.
background.
I thought Cable was like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The time traveling superhero.
Yeah, he's got like a mechanical leg, I think, too, or arm, and he's kind of
Yeah.
he's biomechanical a little
Something
bit.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. So
Something to do with the eye too, I think, right?
because he's on a quest to destroy Apocalypse, who I believe killed his son.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
So
So we had the basic, back in the '60s when it first came out. Do you remember what the first comic was? 1963 in September. First came out.
like what it was called?
It was called just X-Men #1.
Okay, because I know there's like an X Force, which I don't know if that has to relate to X-Men too.
X-Force, it kind of does.
Yeah.
It kind of does.
But no, I don't.
yeah, '63. It's such a long time ago too. You think about it. That's all old.
Yes,
X-Men.
because we all remember 1963. I mean,
I know, right?
whew,
Well,
that-
digging the history is just so awesome, about especially when it comes to comics and stuff that you always loved, So let's move on from the superheroes to the villains to where they train. Remember where they train?
the Xavier Institute of Gifted Young
Gifted Mutants is actually what it's called. I don't know why they did Gifted and Mutants together. But it's the X Mansion.
People. Yeah, which is the place where Xavier grew up.
Right. Here's another bit of information that I'm not sure how important it is, but I thought it was kind of funny. Do you know the address?
No.
It is 1407 Graymolken Lane, Simmons Center, Westchester County, New York. Such a long name for this address. Now, we should just Google this one time, see if it's actually on the map.
Watch it be. It's probably the exact building where they filmed like First Class.
Oh, right, yeah.
Probably the exact.
It actually might be a building
Could
there.
be.
Who could? I know, Westchester had a lot of mansions in there, didn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, it might be a mansion county anyways. So there you go. That's a wrap up a quick, history lesson for you on the X-Men.
A little bit. I mean, it's hard because we'll always say the comic knowledge.
Yeah.
That is your forte. Whereas me, I'm more of I know a lot of TV knowledge kind of thing.
Right.
So, but you've grown up reading
I
comics your
enjoyed the
entire
history. I
life.
enjoyed revisiting this stuff. It was amazing
Exactly.
stuff.
So,
It really was. Yeah. How big of an X-Men fan are you?
I'm a huge one. I own actually I mean, even though we'll say the movies don't really do the comics as much justice as the animes did, but I own basically every movie. I enjoy always going and see them. I mean, I hyped you up over Days of Futures Past, which really wasn't as good as I thought it would be. But I'm hyped even for Apocalypse coming out, because for me, when I watch the animes, which I get really excited over, I'm expecting the movies to be just as good or take a lot from that. And when they don't, it's like, I want everything to kind of be merged together. Kind of, okay, we did this for a cartoon, and it's going to be the movie based kind of on it.
Yeah.
When they go off track, it's just like, really?
Yeah, you gotta kind of stick together. And that's why, was it Mark Singer was the director of the X-Men movies?
Brian.
Bryan Singer, yeah. I just didn't like what he did. I mean, you have the original movies, and then then you have a remake of them coming out. Like First Class.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm not sure how they're connected or not.
I know the only bright side is Hugh Jackman obviously being in every single one.
Right. Is that a bright side though?
I think so,
because that kind of ties in all the movies.
Well, that's the thing. People who probably aren't as big of fans as we are think they all kind of tie in together, which they don't. If you read 1, 2, and 3 are tied in together. X-Men 1, 2, and 3. Then when they do First Class and Days of Futures Past, and now coming up next year, Apocalypse, those are their own 3 trilogy. And the Wolverine movies are their own 3 trilogies.
But when they use the same actors for the parts,
exactly,
it kind of ties them in.
Though they kind of tied in with the second Wolverine, kind of the end, because it starts up right at the end of
that's when
X-Men 3. Right? Yeah, because he's having dreams of Jean after he killed her.
Then he comes back to the States and he sees.
And he meets Xavier and Magneto, which they say they need him to fight the Sentinels. So they don't want them to intertwine, but they are intertwining them.
Yeah, they are.
So it's confusing. I've heard that they're going to reboot X-Men soon.
Like a movie?
Yeah, like the whole thing. So, like, starting back at X-Men 1, they're rebooting everything.
I wonder if they're going to sell I wonder if Sony's going to sell back to Marvel first.
Maybe we'll get then what you want, which is a movie based more on the comic book history.
Yeah. Or more tied in with the Avengers stuff.
Exactly.
So, which brings up next topic we can talk about is how important are the X-Men to the Marvel Universe?
Oh, very important.
How do you feel they tie into everybody?
The whole Marvel Universe ties in, actually, because in the Avengers, you have other people from other universes intertwining. Obviously, we have Spider-Man. He comes over. There's a big thing with Wolverine and Hulk going at it. Miss Marvel comes over to the Avengers. It's huge. The whole universe is huge. And it's pretty neat that they can intertwine everything in comics and now with TV lately. Like, of the TV show, anime, Avengers Assemble?
Yep.
Well, they have also then the Spider-Man Ultimate Heroes. Like, Spider-Man's has his own little group with Nick Fury. Mm-hmm. He comes on to some of those Avengers shows. And now they're doing Guardians of the Galaxy, which went to the Avengers and stuff. So it's pretty neat how all these different universes kind of all come together, but they come together to the Avengers.
But there's only a few amount of characters that can actually be intertwined between all of them. So we're talking about the X-Men, we're talking about Professor X, Storm, and Wolverine.
Yes.
Are the 3 big ones that
Wolverine's
intertwine
definitely
really with all of them.
Yeah, Wolverine's probably the biggest.
Because Wolverine does a lot of freelance work for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Exactly.
So there was that one comic with Nick Fury hiring Wolverine to take down the Hulk. So that ties in there with the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. and X-Men, and obviously we know how Storm ties in with the Avengers, right?
You have to refresh my memory with her.
She's married to Black Panther.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Her and Black Panther are married, so that's how they tie in together. And of course, Professor X helped out Peter Parker with his mutation problem.
Oh, probably when he was transforming into a giant spider.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, because Peter Parker was feeling a little under the weather, if you want to say. So he didn't know how to control it.
He was going through puberty.
He was, he didn't know how to control it. So, what are you going to do? You're going to go to see Professor X. Mm-hmm. He's like the lead in mind reading and mutanology, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Hank McCoy probably helped out Spider-Man too. So I guess he probably put Hank McCoy in there as well.
Like I said, though, I think the biggest, definitely, though, was Wolverine. Because I've seen him in not just comics, but, like I said, other animes, for instance. X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men, the one that I crave the most. Hulk comes over in an episode in there, which was very neat. So
Yeah, I mean, the world just so huge, and they all, just certain characters intertwined with each other. I'm trying to remember how the Fantastic Four fits in with the X-Men at all. I think they both cover New York, and I think they probably take turns saving Manhattan.
probably. It's so
assume.
many people in New York. It's like, geez, go somewhere else. There
Well, I mean,
are other cities.
Actually, if you want to get real geeky with this, that's what the show's about, it's actually a lot like wrestling back in the 60s. When they had
Different territories?
Exactly, so Spider-Man has Manhattan territory,
Hulk destroyed Harlem.
yes, destroyed Harlem. You have, Daredevil, which is Hell's Kitchen, New York.
Yep.
And you had, I guess, X-Men covered probably a lot of the upstate New York area, right?
Yeah, and you got Fantastic Four, New York City.
Yeah, Queens area,
Yeah.
I would assume, so heroes always, unite together, but always take care of their own territories of the country, which I thought was very interesting as well.
Then you just got S.H.I.E.L.D. hovering over everything.
And S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the manager of all of them when mutants or superheroes listen to them.
True.
Yeah, and even the Avengers even take care of New York too.
Yes, Stark Towers in New York.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Too many heroes in one.
But here's what's weird. Why do they always attack New York? Why do villains always attack New York? If you know all the heroes are there.
This is true. It's funny.
Go to LA.
It's funny though. Like you get individual movies or TV shows based on each character in their own little area. It's like you don't see somebody swinging by. Except I showed you once in the Hulk movie. You have Hulk going down in like a dark alley, and you see Spider-Man kind of swinging in the background.
Yeah, I mean,
That
Hulk,
was something pretty neat.
I think it was Red Hulk. No, Abomination was in that movie, right?
Yes.
Abomination took a citizen through him and trying to swipe down and catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you never see kind of the characters anywhere else. So I mean,
Hawkeye was in that movie too.
probably. It's you literally got to pay attention.
They
to
all
it.
in that movie. That's what's great about it. If you guys know any other superheroes that cover any other territories in the United States, hit us up on our Facebook page, Legend of the Nerds, or even tweet us this information. We're always around. We're always answering questions, accepting comments. Love to hear from you guys.
See if you can find a superhero that patrols Vermont somewhere.
A Vermont superhero.
There you go.
Well, I think it's time to do the top 5.
Top 5. My
'Cause
fa-
this is going to be a very unique top 5 today.
it's my favorite. And when you hit me up with this topic, I'm like, I could see that being a great topic because I've kind of wondered if I was going to put a group together, who would it be? But go ahead, explain what the top 5 is.
Our top 5 today is top 5 X-Men teams that we would personally assemble. Mm-hmm. And at the end, we will assemble one giant team that we both agree that would
Kick butt.
kick butt, if you will.
Exactly.
Exactly. So go ahead, Andy.
Okay.
Give us
Well,
your top 5.
Some of mine you will know the names, obviously, because they're pretty big X-Men stars. But
Right.
there were a couple that I took when I looked through every single character and their abilities. I'm like, that would come in handy. So the first one, his name is North Star.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yep.
His powers are super speed. He can fly. And in case of an emergency, he needs to get away. He does projects flashes of light, which to me remind me of, let's go back to the Dragon Ball episode when Krillin uses a solar flare to blind everybody and run away. That kind of reminded me of a solar flare, the flash of light, which would come in handy if you need to do a quick retreat.
Exactly right.
So my number 4 is from First Class.
Now, your number 5,
Yep.
was he the almost the Indian-looking guy, right?
You had
He had a jean vest on. You had the,
No. That's somebody else who has like
Okay.
super strength and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. My number 4 is from First Class. It's Darwin.
Oh.
The guy who can adapt to everything.
Okay.
So if he gets shot, he turns into like a sponge and he absorbs the bullet. He gets hit with fire, turns into magma. He's underwater, gets lungs. He
Right.
can even survive out in space.
Okay.
So I thought that's actually a pretty neat ability to have in somebody on my team who can adapt to anything.
Yeah.
So number 4 is a girl named Mirage.
All right.
Mirage has the ability, she can talk to animals, which I think is pretty neat. Gets the animals to come and help you fight. She also can cast mental illusions. So I wanted to take like a Jean Grey because of that.
All right.
But Mirage having a little bit more powers here kind of pushed me to her instead. Plus, I don't want to deal with Phoenix. So she can do the illusions, but then she can also sense upcoming death. So if I'm about to die, tell me. I'm getting the heck out of there.
Okay.
So she's my number 3. My number 2 are 2 and 1 are obvious ones that everyone knows. 2 is Storm.
All right.
I have always liked Storm's abilities to deal with the weather and everything like that, shoot down bolts of lightning, everything. Everything about Storm's powers have always intrigued me.
Okay.
But my number 1 is a guy who should be on everybody's list, and that is Wolverine. Wolverine to me is a leader.
So he's your leader of the team.
He's my leader of the team,
Okay.
yes. He is a leader to me. He has all that super sense kind of thing. The adamantium comes in handy, and the regeneration comes in handy, I think. Get shot in the head and the bullet comes out, and I'm back alive. But that's my top 5.
What are you going to do when he goes rogue? Because he's not really much of a team player.
That's when I use Mirage to get illusions to come back. just have an illusion of Jean by his side all the time. So that's my top 5. I just feel like Wolverine, if we didn't say if he was going to go rogue.
So you think you had a team that could go after the Brotherhood?
Exactly.
All right. I like it.
I mean, Wolverine's one of my all-time favorites. I wanted to put
Well, Wolverine at this point is a household name.
Household name.
Yeah.
I mean, there were obvious other ones on here I really wanted because they're really some of my favorites, but I'm trying to think these other people might come in more in handy more, like
course.
North Star Mirage, like Iceman, one of my all-time favorites. But throw a fireball at him and he melts. And Nightcrawler, teleporting, was always fun. And Beast is my all-time favorite character, but I got Wolverine on there. He's a beast too. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, thinking about this list, it was really hard to do. Because, it is a top 5, so you can only have 5 spaces on there, so you got to decide who is going to be good for the team, who's not.
exactly, you want to put your all-time favorites on there, but are they going to be, like you said, good for your team?
All right.
So,
All right, so my number 5
yep,
was Storm,
yep,
because of her ability of controlling the weather and her flight. She can
exactly.
fly with the weather, so I thought that was important. Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men, by the way.
Really?
He is. I love Nightcrawler.
I did not know that.
His teleporting skills would come in huge handy when you're in a tight bind. I thought that would be really good to have.
My only bad thought with Nightcrawler is he needs to know where he's going. He has to see it first if he hasn't like really been there. It's not like he can just say, "Oh, I'm going to California to New York." But
Here's what's good at Nightcrawler. You can, it's almost like the movie Push.
okay,
When Christian Hansen saw the postcard, he could go to that place.
well that wasn't Push. Push is with
Oh no, not Push. That's
it's
Chris Evans.
Jumper.
Jumper, yeah, Jumper.
Push is with
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris
Yeah.
Evans and Dakota Fanning. We only
Yeah.
got like halfway through that. It was so boring.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think if Nightcrawler saw where he was going first, then he could go there.
Exactly.
Even if it's like in a postcard picture or something like that.
Because they explain it in X-Men 2. Like they needed to
But we can't really decide movies are
No,
gonna
no, no.
show
But
or
what I'm
facts
getting
or
at
not.
is if he's in one room and he needs to get to the next room, for instance, but he doesn't know what it looks like, he can't jump there. He never has been.
I think I'm gonna do more research on him because I'm not sure how true that is with his actual ability towards with what the movies tell us. Yeah,
Because I know, like for instance, in Wolverine and the X-Men, the anime, he gets trapped on Magneto's island, and he's trying to get back to land, and he can only jump like every 10 feet on the ocean.
Yeah.
Because if you're projecting yourself in the ocean's huge.
The ocean is
Where,
huge.
where are you going to end up in the ocean?
Yeah. So I think I do like his ability to teleport certain spots, but,
Yep.
might be helpful. His agility is amazing.
Oh yeah.
So he could bring a lot to the table, I think. Number 3 is Colossus.
Yep.
We need the muscle. No matter what, you need muscle on the team.
Exactly. And I didn't realize this till I researched him. He can not breathe, but when he's in his giant metal form, he doesn't have to breathe as that. He can like hold his breath for
Oh, right,
or
right,
something
yeah.
like that. So if he's like underwater, for instance, he doesn't have to worry about breathing.
Yeah.
Can't hold it forever, but enough.
Well, you can't do that.
Exactly. Which I thought that's pretty neat. I didn't realize that about Colossus.
I thought he was a cool character. That's the muscle.
Is he going to beat Magneto though?
What?
Is he going to beat a Magneto? He's a giant ball of metal. Wolverine is too, obviously.
Magneto is a tough character to beat,
Exactly,
He
so.
really is. Number 2 is Wolverine,
Yep.
because he's got to be on the team no matter what.
Should be on everyone's list.
He really should be. He's just a well-rounded character that's got a lot of abilities that could help with any situation.
Mhm.
Even smelling his opponent from like miles away.
Yeah,
That's
if you're
right
tracking
there.
somebody.
Yeah. His strike skill is incredible. And of course, my leader is Cyclops.
Wow.
I particularly don't like Cyclops,
Same here.
but he does have mad leadership skills.
All you have to do is take those goggles off him and he's done.
He has mad leadership skills.
He does.
You
Now, I have to say, prior to today, when I told you earlier, I know 2 that are going to be automatically on your list because I thought you're a huge fan of these 2. But, like we said, it's who we like compared to who we know we need.
Right.
I really thought you'd have either Cable or Bishop on your list.
Yeah.
I really did. I almost had Bishop because Bishop has great mutant skills where he can absorb energy and blast it back to you.
Yep.
So,
Yep. But there's my well-rounded team. So now, do we decide top 5 or should we make the list longer? What do you think?
no, it's a 5.
It's a 5?
It's a 5.
All right.
Wolverine is on there, but is he a 2 or a 1?
I think it should be a 2. He is not a...
Just because of the whole going rogue thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Just because the whole going rogue thing. Both of us had Storm on there.
Yeah, I had her at 2, you had her at 5. So I think she should then be either a 4 or a 3, somewhere in the middle. I would put her at a 3 because she is a real, like, general, I think. She can be a leader, I think.
She could be a leader, yeah.
Or she can be that number 2. That's why I think she should be a number 3
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. 4 and 5. You had some interesting ones
I
on
had
there.
North Star, I have Darwin, I have Mirage. See, for me, Colossus, it's just, yes, he's got that strength. That's about it. You take Wolverine. Wolverine, for instance, you got your strength there, I think. He is strong.
He is strong.
Colossus, to me, it's just, I don't see him in the top 5.
All right.
Compared to some of the others I have on here,
All right.
you got North Star Mirage with some decent abilities to come in handy with.
Right.
I could throw Darwin
No,
out.
I tell you the thing. I do like Mirage. Mm-hmm. I see that one being at least a 5.
Yeah, because she's kind of like, reminds me of the Jean Grey almost.
Yeah.
And then can tell you if you're about to die, take one step to the right. Oh, you're still alive.
If she's around.
Yeah.
So put Mirage as 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I would go with a 5.
All right. Why don't you talk to me more about Darwin there?
Darwin's interesting. Like, it's not like he has super strength or speed, but he can dodge death almost. He's fighting somebody. Okay, say I have super strength and I punch Darwin. He turns into iron skin.
Okay.
You're not going to hurt him.
How's he going to help the team, though?
Exactly. That's where it's hard for me to say if he deserved to be on there.
Okay.
Nightcrawler too. It's just watch.
Nightcrawler could be off the list, too.
For me, when you look at Nightcrawler, even watching in TV and stuff like that, how much did he really do with the rest of the team? Yeah, he's going one-on-one with someone, for instance, and he's just bouncing everywhere.
Right.
That's why I think we put Mirage a little too high.
Mirage is 5.
I think she could be a 4. Because then my other one's North Star.
Okay. Again, no, Mirage is a person that could technically, I mean, what does she bring to the team?
Well, she's got the animal help, for instance. She can do the death thing and then project illusions. So your enemy might think they're going after somebody, but she's doing an illusion.
Right.
I mean, North Star could be a 4 too,
I would see North Star more higher up than Mirage.
because of the speed, the flight, and
Yeah.
okay, do
I
North
really
Star a
do.
4.
That leaves the number 1 spot, which I think we should go with mine number 1.
I would go with yours in Cyclops. He has always been the leader. To me, sometimes he can get a little emotional,
He can get emotional. He can,
but he does have that leadership
but
trait.
I think that's what makes a good leader, though. Having those emotions to make the right call.
Yep, I would go with that.
All right.
So there you go, everybody. That's our combined top 5 of what our X-Men team would be. At number
Strong team.
strong. At number 5, Mirage. At number 4, North Star. Number 3, Storm. Number 2, the incredible Wolverine. But number 1, the guy who has always been the leader of the X-Men, Cyclops. So I think we have a good chance of.
Not our personal favorites, but I think it makes a strong team.
I think we have a good chance of beating the Brotherhood of Evil and Magneto, and so
I think so.
yeah.
I think so. So that was a good top 5, right?
I enjoy that top 5 because it's kind of that top 5 where even as a kid, you're oh, there go all the props.
Oh, they're all falling down now, huh?
We're good. That top 5 to me, it brings back a little childhood in me because growing up watching, you kind of project yourself maybe as an X-Men, who your favorite character would be, or who your team might be.
I think in my generation, even yours probably, I always go back to the animated series. Mm-hmm. See how the original X-Men team from the animated series, which was, Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Gambit was on there.
Yeah, Beast.
That's why Gambit didn't make any of our lists, by the way.
Nah.
Gambit was kind of cool. Beast, Jubilee,
Yeah, Rogue.
Rogue. Yeah, sorry, Rogue made the list either. She's yeah.
Well, to me, it's hard with Rogue because she can take the ability, but not for long. She can only harness it, and then it's kind of gone. Even though you drain their life force
Now,
almost
Rogue
with
is
it.
a crazy character because you look at the animated series and you look at the movie when she was introduced. Mm-hmm. The animated series, she could fly.
Well, it's because the background story for Rogue is she killed Miss Marvel, I think, because she stole all her abilities and she killed her. She held on too long.
Okay.
That-
Yeah, I
and-
think I remember something about
Because
that.
if she ends up killing you because she takes your entire life force and all your powers, she's stuck with them.
Right.
And that's what happened. So she could fly and she had the super strength.
That's interesting. Yeah, I remember that story.
The whole character of Rogue in the movies was a total flop. to
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Because all she really did was retain that white hair from Magneto. That's about it.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat. And then she gets rid of her powers and stuff like that. And in the third one, when they find the cure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But apparently, in Days of Future Past, she was casted in that movie for a small role, and she gets her powers back. But they ended up that's like a deleted scene from the movie they took
Oh, is
off.
it?
Yeah, they just decided, we're just gonna take Rogue out of the storyline.
But I should. I think she was just such a weak character,
Yeah.
She was much better in the animated series.
If they had adopted her like in the animated series, she probably would have been a strong character, but fans just kind of threw her character out the door.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
But I think they did pretty good Black Cat, though.
Black Cat. You mean
Not Black Cat. but-
Shadow Cat?
Yeah,
Kitty?
yeah. They did a good job with her character, I think, in the movies.
And even in Days of Future Past, kind of adopting that time travel, where she can send Logan back,
Yeah.
his thought back into the past. That was pretty neat too.
I want to say in the comics, she gets I think it's her. They get a pet dragon.
That I don't know of.
I think it's her, though.
Because I think
know too much
in the
on that one.
comics, I do think in the comics, she does get that ability to send your mind in the past. I
Right.
want to say because when she did that, I'm like, why do I feel like that is familiar to me? So, but
There's so much about the X-Men that I don't even know about. So much history to get into. But I think it's time to really go straight on to the movies itself, because there's a lot coming out. A lot. I mean, first one came out what 1999.
Somewhere's around there. It was late 90s, early 2000s with the original X-Men.
Yep. What'd you think of that movie?
I actually really enjoyed it when it came out. Now I really can't stand to watch it too much.
Really?
Because I think they make some flops in it, obviously. I like, in all of the X-Men movies so far, I actually enjoy the people who they casted as the characters.
But sticking on the first movie, though, what about did you not like, or what part did you like before?
What I
that
didn't
you don't
like
now?
is Toad, for instance. When I saw him, I wanted to see all the Brotherhood of Evil. He kind of, to me, just seemed like, throw-in character.
Well, Toad is the original Brotherhood.
Yeah, but I know. But when I see it, I wanted to see like Blob and Earthquake, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like how Rogue kind of finds Wolverine and then they find Professor Xavier. It just seemed a little different to me. The whole, try to think how. It might be because I've seen it so many times. Now it's just, it's hard for me to say.
It's all one giant blob.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say. It's not my favorite out of all of them. So,
Out of the first original three, the first one was my favorite.
really,
It really was. I couldn't stand the other two.
I couldn't.
There are parts of them I liked, but the first one was great. I mean, it really did the basis of introducing each character, introducing the villain, then you got the finishing, sequence.
Yeah.
It's a basic movie that told a storyline and some of the history of the X-Men.
See, I think I liked out of the first three, number 3 more, because I like them bringing the character of Phoenix,
I thought it was the worst one.
and I like the character. I like the story of the Phoenix.
But keep in mind, they didn't bring back Phoenix. They brought back Dark Phoenix.
It's true.
You have Phoenix and you have Dark Phoenix. They didn't even show Phoenix at all.
Yeah.
Because Phoenix was a cool character, but Dark Phoenix was the evil one, which they brought in number 3. So they totally skipped a character.
Well, what I do like, there's certain. I think out of the first 3, there's certain parts from each one that I like the most. It's not like I like one over the other, but I like certain parts. Like in number 2, I like the whole backstory of Logan trying to bring back to his memory
Right.
how he became Weapon X, kind of thing.
Okay.
I like that. In number 1, I like kind of getting excited for the first time seeing X-Men. Growing up watching the cartoon, now I get to see a live action. And in number 3, I kind of enjoyed the whole Phoenix thing. I hated them killing off Cyclops. I didn't like that.
They probably shouldn't have done that at all.
So, and then the whole, we kill Professor Xavier, but then they kind of leave it on a cliffhanger on the mid-credit scene.
They did, and then they touched nothing with that.
Exactly. Because I think it was, what's her name from First Class? McTaggart, I think is what her name was. The CSI agent from the First Class.
Okay.
I think she was the doctor or something like that in the hospital when he woke up in someone else's body.
Was she really?
I think he says her name.
I didn't put that together. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. And I guess people say because he wakes up and it looks like Xavier. It's supposed to be Xavier's identical twin brother or something, which I'm like, I've never heard of that.
No. There's a lot of parts in these movies, the 3 originals at least, with all the 3 originals right now, that weren't very good. I thought they really rushed the entire series. They could have made like 2 or 3 more to not rush the series. Mm-hmm. But I felt like, after the first one was well done. It wasn't rushed. It told a great storyline. Let's go. And then they just rushed 2 and 3 right along. So you don't know what's going on at all.
See, with 3, which is nice, is you get some of those side X-Men characters who you get to see more developed. For instance, Colossus. In number 3, he's in number 2, but only for a split second. In number 3, he's more of a bold character. Same with Shadowcat.
Yeah,
and Iceman develops his abilities more. And Beast, he's in that.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer played a great Beast.
Yep.
So, I mean, at number 3, you get to see more.
You do see more, but I think it's a lot of more crap that we don't want to see. Honestly, I mean, it's great to bring these characters out, but they should have done a little more with it.
Do you notice they even have Storm's nephew in number 3? He's a villain. Spike. The one who shoots
Oh, yeah.
wooden spikes out of his arms and stuff.
Yep.
Him and Wolverine fighting in the forest.
Oh, yeah.
That's Spike. I thought that was great too.
No, was he named Spike or was it like another character?
They didn't give him a name,
Okay.
but
So we can just assume.
you can
it's Spike.
assume it's Spike.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's my assumption. So,
Right.
but
That's the thing. When you have characters like that, they should introduce them a little more than they did. It wasn't.
they even
Yeah.
had multiple in there. Remember, he multiplied.
Yeah. He was actually kind of a cool character.
Yeah, him. I think they did have the name. He did have the multiple name.
Yeah.
So,
So First Class came out, and when I first heard about it, I thought they were rebooting the entire series again,
same here.
and I was getting excited. I was like, all right, this is going to tell a great storyline. We're going to get a good history of it. Then we get the present stuff, and go from there.
I would say out of every X-Men movie that's come out, First Class is my all-time favorite.
First Class was a very cool movie.
I thought they did a lot in showing kind of the development of obviously the first two big names, which is Xavier and Magneto,
Oh,
from the backstories, and even with Mystique.
yeah.
And
absolutely.
then kind of bringing in McTaggart. I don't know her first name. I cannot think of it off the top of my head. But bringing her character into it. And she is a big name character from what I've researched in comics and television. Because she was there with Xavier. She is Xavier's longtime friend.
Right.
So, and she's going to be, I think, in the Apocalypse movie also.
Which we will get to, because that is another huge topic I want to talk about as well. What about the next one coming up? What do you think of the original, the Wolverine movie?
X-Men?
One after the Origins. Well, I should talk about Origins first.
Yeah, because right after number 3, they have Origins.
Let's talk about Origins.
Which Origins is, if you want to put every movie that's come out in order, Origins is chronologically the first movie. Because it's set, obviously, before the X-Men.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I hated totally, and this is where they get everything interacted weirdly, is in the first X-Men movie, you have a Sabretooth. And you have Sabretooth in this one. Totally different characters.
Yeah.
The Sabretooth in Origins is more well kept up kind of. He speaks better and everything.
Of course.
The Sabretooth I know and that I've seen in comics and television is the one we get in the first movie. This giant beast of a guy who just roars and goes
And that's
at
where
you.
the first movie came in handy, but they actually portrayed the characters where they should be portrayed. And Sabretooth was portrayed the right way.
The best thing about Origins was the more of the backstory of Wolverine becoming Weapon X. And then seeing Stryker, kind of, Stryker's backstory.
Yeah, because Stryker was a huge character in the X-Men stuff.
And we'll get to it later, maybe with the upcoming movies, but you have Deadpool, obviously, everyone's going to want us to talk about in Origins. But I don't think they give Wade Wilson the credit. I think that he maybe.
Well, we're not
kinda
going to
deserves.
talk about Deadpool because that's going to be a whole different episode, I think. And the way Deadpool was portrayed in Origins was just terrible. They slaughtered him.
Yep.
They didn't even do it right at all. There was nothing right about it. Because Wade Wilson, he is a loudmouth, cocky guy.
Which he is in the beginning. He is in the beginning before he gets all his powers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when they sew his mouth shut, I mean, the one good line is, "Wow, they finally shut you up there, Wade."
Yeah,
That was
so-
about it. So, Origins, it was decent to see the background of Wolverine, but that's about it.
Now, after Origins, there was supposed to be other Origin movies coming out.
Yep, Magneto.
Never did it.
Yeah. I think it's because Origins was a flop.
It might have been, yeah. But I know Cyclops is supposed to come out too, and Magneto.
Which you kind of get the backstory
I
of
think there
Magneto.
was one more too.
You kind of get a backstory of Magneto in First Class.
Yeah.
So you really don't need that. And Cyclops, to me, I think we're going to get more backstory in Apocalypse.
You think so?
I think so.
Let's move on to the Wolverine movie itself.
It was a good storyline of a movie, I thought. It just, to me, didn't really portray the whole him going to Japan thing. Because I think when he goes to Japan, it's pre-X-Men in the comics. I want to say.
I think
Like
he's
it's
Japan a couple times.
like, okay, because I know when he first loses his memory, like at the end of Origins.
Yep.
When that, I heard they were coming out with the second Wolverine movie in Japan. That's what I thought. It was going to start right up back. Yeah, because he did go to Japan. He saved the guy from the nuclear blast. That's right.
Yes.
They showed that. So him coming back, I didn't really realize much of that story. It was a good written out movie, but the story to me really didn't make much sense.
Yeah, that's one problem I have with it, is that they don't explain any of the history of these characters and why they're going back, why they're the first time, when they go the first time, have they ever been there before.
The only thing
There's
that
information in these movies that they just don't add that they need to start adding.
The only thing that, like I said, made sense was the beginning. When he went in the war with Japan in World War II, when we nuked him, he saved the soldier.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that made sense about that movie, evolving around the comics and the backstory of X-Men. So I got excited. I thought it was going to be more of what I read, because he has this fight with like the white samurai in the comics and everything, and really didn't.
It was a lot better than the Origins movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It just didn't really, to me, make X-Men sense into the story. The good thing I liked about it was, though, at the end, when he meets Xavier and Magneto and they say, "We need you," and it sets
That
up.
was the only good
It
part
sets
of
up
that
for
movie.
Days of Futures
Yeah.
Past. So
Yeah. I feel like that they're trying to take Sony, who owns the studio rights to the X-Men stuff right now, they're trying to take Wolverine and turn him into Marvel's, Iron Man.
Mhm.
I mean, like, Iron Man was a great movie, great character. They didn't need to really give him 10,000 movies because his reputation itself is going to sell movie tickets. Wolverine, they had to keep, burying it into viewers' heads to try to get movie sales, and I just didn't like that idea at all.
Yeah.
Just keep sucking dry the Wolverine stuff. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah. I think it's just because fans crave Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, so they want to see more and more and more. So
I think they should have done less. I think you do less, you make a movie, and then you're going to get more sales.
because he's been in all of them, even just as cameo roles.
Yeah, he has.
So,
Well, leads us to Days of Future Past.
which I hyped massively, and it just did not bring what I wanted to bring. Because when you show Nickelodeon made Wolverine and the X-Men, which is based off of, you're showing the X-Men in the present and what's happening in the future when the Sentinels rule the world.
Okay.
And when they're showing in the preview the X-Men fighting the Sentinels that are ruling the world, that's all I thought. It's going to be based off this cartoon, which was amazing.
Yes.
And it took some of the aspects of the show, but it just, him going back, it really didn't show me what I wanted to see, where it's more of a fight against the Sentinels, but it really wasn't. It was against Mystique kind of killing off these people, which then sets off a war. So we got to
Yeah.
stop Mystique. We
Yeah.
don't have to stop the Sentinels.
I mean, in the long run, Sentinels aren't really villains. They're just programmed to do what they're told to do, in a way,
Which in the cartoon, they're actually the villains.
Yeah.
Because you have a super computer that's controlling all the Sentinels, and they end up killing people and
But who
mutants.
controls that computer?
The computer has a mind of its own. Its name is Mastermind.
There you go. So Mastermind is the villain who controls the Sentinels.
Yeah.
If Mastermind didn't control the computer to control the Sentinels wouldn't be villains.
It's true. And in that anime, the cartoon, you get to see more of the X-Men that you like Bishop's in it.
Yeah.
There's another girl who can teleport, but she shoots crystals.
Oh, yes.
And she's in Days of Futures Past.
Yeah.
You see who I had on here, Warpath is in there. So it was good, but it could have been better.
Well, yeah, I mean, every movie could be better. Like, I actually kind of enjoyed that one X-Men movie.
Mm-hmm.
I did. It was something different, They tried to do the history, what's going on, do the future stuff, I thought it was a good movie. I really did. Which will now lead us up to some predictions on what we think is going to happen with
Apocalypse?
Apocalypse.
Yeah. They set it up really well in the the mid-credit preview. You just see all these people chanting Apocalypse's name.
Right.
And then you see in the background the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is great.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't notice it until I saw it on new Facebook.
Yep.
I didn't notice him at all.
I am big into the whole. My favorite thing with X-Men is the fight with Apocalypse, and in every animated series I've ever watched, that's how they end the series is with a fight against Apocalypse, because the Age of Apocalypse is probably the most well-known thing in X-Men. I think for X-Men and villains.
Right.
Sorry. I am really, really hoping for a great movie here, because the only thing is we've seen pictures of what Apocalypse looks like.
Right.
Kind of reminds me of a Mr. Ooze or something from the Power Rangers movie. He's all purple and everything.
You know, actually, a lot of people saying it looks like a lot of Brainiac.
Yeah. I mean, so that's kind of but they are gonna. I've read they have some of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse there by his side, which will be good. And Wolverine cameo in it again, which was
no
really
real part,
weird
huh?
to me, because it's set in 1983. The research I did, it's set in 1983. So we're gonna have Cyclops, Storm, Jean, Xavier, all there, but they're gonna be younger. So that's where I think we'll get more of the Cyclops origins thing in it, because I think you're gonna see more backstory. And the one thing I'm really looking forward to is Cyclops has a brother, and we've seen him in First Class and Days of Futures Past, and that's Alex Summer, Havoc. They're going to be together for the first time. I want to see that whole, oh my God, I found my brother kind of thing.
Right.
Because in the animes, they hype that up. They've never seen each other. They got split at birth. So maybe those two come together, and
Maybe.
we'll see something like that. Maybe you'll see Jean kind of fighting off Phoenix as a kid, how Xavier helped her out in the beginning.
Maybe. I'm hoping this movie actually see the original cast of the X-Men in this, because it's based on what, 1983 you said, right?
1983 is the year, yeah. That's
So
gonna
we
be it.
could see the original cast of the X-Men in this.
Yeah, we
That'd be
have
very cool.
one which everyone's all excited about. Jubilee is going to be in this.
Really?
Jubilee is in this.
Why?
I don't know, but it's just, to me, I'm thinking Jubilee isn't the biggest X-Men character, but fans are flipping out, so excited to see a Jubilee.
So weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really looking forward to that part, but like I said, I'm hyped over this because I like the Apocalypse rivalry with the X-Men.
Now, with all these movies they came out with, why do you think they didn't even touch Sinister?
It's weird because Sinister is Apocalypse's like right-hand man,
Yeah,
and Sinister is a big character.
of course.
He changes Angel to Archangel, and we've seen Angel already in one of the X-Men movies in X-Men 3.
Yeah.
He could have been around in 83 as a kid. I think Sinister is one of those characters where it was probably going to be too hard trying to put him in. Unless
think so?
unless you made your one movie with Sinister as the main villain. Because lately you've had this one, you're going to have Apocalypse. He's a big villain. You've had the whole Sentinel thing, which is the whole Sentinel thing was big in X-Men.
Right.
And in First Class, you had the development, obviously, of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Magneto's really not the villain yet, but he is developing into that villain. So, I mean,
The positive about all these movies I see, the positive part is that now we've seen the mistakes that the studios made when making all the movies. So when they make a reboot now, they can take those mistakes and fix them.
well, you do know what the biggest mistake's going to be. Tom Hardy as the Wolverine.
That is talked about. That is not set in stone.
Exactly. Hugh Jackman has said he wants Tom Hardy to play if he retires as
There
Wolverine.
is a lot of rumor going around about this. I mean, I've seen a couple pictures as Tom Hardy dressed up as a Wolverine, you know, but it's Hugh Jackman's word saying, I would like to see this.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen.
I mean, and the whole reboot thing, it's rumored. It's not
Yeah.
confirmed. Hugh Jackman has stated, I'm done after the third Wolverine movie, which is in...
Let's talk about that right now, actually.
Yeah. That comes out in 2017, so we still have a couple years.
We do.
He has said, yeah, I'm done. Then some other times he says, no, I'm going to come back for more. So you really don't know. His latest statement is that I'm done after the third Wolverine.
Now, do you think he needs to be in the third Wolverine at all? Or do you think that he just make a guest cameo?
Well, the third Wolverine, the rumor is it's going to be based like in the future, and he's old Logan.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd like to see him, if he's going to be done, finish it as old Logan, and then move on. So
I don't think they're gonna find like an older guy.
no, I think they'll just dress him up.
Think so? Yeah.
So, but obviously, that's 2 years away. It's all just hype right now. It's all rumor, so we really can't report much on it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but with that comes the end of another great episode of Legend of the Nerds.
Yep.
Like I always say, it's my
There's so much information about this one topic. You know, we could go on for another
exactly,
hour.
exactly. It's my worst part of the show. I hate having to leave all you great fans out there, but like I always say, visit us at our YouTube page at Legend of the Nerds. You can catch up on every single episode there, but you can also go to our Facebook page, also at Legend of the Nerds, where we post every episode and trailers for different things with Flash and Arrow coming on in a couple days.
Yes, it
That's
is.
going to be great.
I saw Flash season 1 for sale at Walmart. the other
Exactly.
day.
And now, don't forget, if you have any questions for us, you can tweet us at Legends of the Nerds. So 3 different social media networks to go and visit us at. We hope to hear all your questions and comments. And remember, as always, stay nerdy.
Right.